This conference will now be recorded.
So friends, so I'm going to discuss about what tuple in this session. So we have covered already list example, right? So we are going to cover tuple followed by set and dictionary. Okay. So if you see the points of the list, okay, just I'm picking up all the same characteristics of the list from here, and I'm going to add it to this. Okay. So here tuple I'm going to talk about tuple, right? So tuple is also a predefined or built-in class. The purpose of tuple is also used to store the sequence of elements as list. Okay, we can create empty tuple, we can create empty tuple, or we can create a tuple object using the constructor. Okay, using group of elements. And what is the symbol to represent a tuple is this brackets, guys. This is parenthesis, right? This is parenthesis, and we can store all the elements of same types. Of course, we can store different types as well. We can also store null value. We can add the duplicate values to the tuple. Okay, we can have duplicate elements also to the tuple. Okay, so tuple is an ordered collection. By default it is not a sorted one. By default it is not a sorted one. Tuple is a not a sorted one. Tuple can be modifiable once the tuple is created. No. So this is the difference that we are going to see with respect to list and tuple. What is the difference? List and tuple, only one difference is everything else is same. Everything else is same. That is what I have told you. List we took so much of time, but tuple we don't, because list and tuple exactly same. List and tuple exactly same. Exactly same. What is the difference is only the difference is tuple is, okay, cannot be modifiable. Cannot be modifiable. This is what you have to understand. Okay, cannot be modifiable. Okay, tuple cannot be modifiable once the tuple is created. Tuple is created. That is a tuple is known as immutable object. Tuple is known as what? Immutable object. Guys, clear? Simple as that. Okay, meaning what? So let us play with this. I'm going to create a tuple object. How to create a tuple object, empty tuple object, using this, right? So you can see print type of t is what? Type of t is what? Tuple. Okay, so we can create it this way, or you can have elements. Okay, you can give elements, sequence of elements. What is the type of this? Of course, tuple. Okay, what is the type of this? Tuple. So just print it t here, and also you can print t here. Okay, just this is creation of tuple. Creation of tuple. Creation of tuple. See that? So okay, what I have executed in the other program. Let me run this tuple. So here you can see what is that class? Tuple class, then empty tuple, but here it's a tuple of elements 1 2 3, right? So just brackets matters. So here we are using the parenthesis. For list we use square brackets. Following? Okay, so the next thing is, if you look at the creation of the tuple. So if I declare like this, what is this? It is integer, guys. It is integers. But if I keep like this becomes tuple. Make a note of it. Make a note of it. Okay, so this is integer, and here it is tuple. Okay, so here you are adding some you are appending a comma, meaning that, okay, so it is not a integer. So further you are going to add the elements, and it treats that as a tuple. See that? Integer followed by tuple. Okay, so the same thing, right? Value same thing, but only what is the difference here? I just have element here, but here I just have element with comma separation. Okay, this is how I can create a tuple object. Also I can create like this also. What is the type of this? What is the type of this? Friends, come on, you have to interact too, because like, so there is no noise or nothing, so you can interact. So it can be interactive, no problem. Okay, whatever dots you have, just raise it, no problem. So tuple here, if you look at, this is also a tuple, right? This is also a tuple. Even though you initialize the elements, group of elements without bracket, but still by default this will be treating as a tuple. That is the point here. Okay, t equal to 1 2 3, t equal to 1 2 3, by default it is going to treat that as a tuple. Okay, there's a comma separated values. If you assign comma separated values to a variable, then that will be by default treated that as a tuple. Understand? Okay, hoping that you are good with this. Okay, you can create the tuple, okay, in different ways. Okay, you can create the tuple in different ways. And let's understand, tuple can be modifiable or not. Okay, I'll try to modify a tuple. What will happen? Let us try to modify. Okay, modify, or yeah, try to first let us focus on accessing the tuple elements. Okay, we have created it, then we wanted to access it. How did we access list elements? How did we access list elements? So we accessed the list elements using index, because these are index based. Even tuple also index based, right? So I can happily access like this. So tuple of index. So what is this? Two is index. So this returns the second indexed element. Second indexed element is what? I have this one is the second indexed element. This is first 0th index element. This is first indexed element. This is second indexed element. Okay. So second indexed element is 3. So I got it right. So I can access using index, or I can access using what? Slice operator. Okay. We already know about that slice operator. We can use slice operator. Simple. So if I just keep this slice operator, it is going to return everything. Okay, how we performed using range, the slice operator, how we performed in case of string, how we performed in case of string, the same way you can apply, you can practice the tuple as well. Okay, so now I am trying to modify it. I'm trying to modify tuple object. Okay, so I wanted to, okay, I wanted to replace my second position element, which is 3, right? I wanted to replace with 30. Okay, I wanted to replace my second position element 3 with the 30. So is it going to replace? That's what you can say, that tuple type error. Tuple object does not support itemization. You cannot do this, boss. You cannot do this because it is immutable object. Okay, so this is not possible. This is not possible with the tuple. So tuple is immutable. Okay, tuple is immutable. So tuple is immutable. So you cannot modify it. The same thing if you apply list, yes, you can do that. You can replace it. Okay, that is only the difference between list and the tuple. Everything else will be same. Now you can see what are the functions available in case of tuple. So it has index and count. What about the other functions like pop function we have seen, remove function we have seen, right? Append function we have seen in case of list. But in case of tuple, only two functions you can see here, index and count. Index is to search for the element, whether I have element in my tuple object or not. Say my tuple is, say for example, 10, 20, 30, 40. Now I am going to search for this. Okay, print of t dot index. Okay, what index verifies? Is it going to look for this 2 element, or is it going to be index? It is going to return the second indexed value, meaning that 30 is going to return, or it search for the element 2 in the given tuple. How it is going to do? What is the output here? Come on guys, you have to tell me. You have to tell me, like, what is the output here? 30 it is going to give Meaning that what is your understanding here is you are looking at the second index value, meaning that this is 0th, first, second index value is 30, and you are saying that 30 is going to return. But see the output, is that same? You are understanding? See that what happened? X not in tuple. So value error it is giving, meaning that it is looking for this element in the tuple, in the given tuple, and tuple does not have this value 2. So it is not the index, it is element. That's what you have to understand. So here 2 is the element, but not the index. Such element, basically. Such element. That's what we discussed just now in the case of list in previous video, right? So this is not the index. This is the element. It is looking for the element. So now, so here let me give 20. Now 20 is present in this or not? 20 is present in the tuple or not? Yes, it is present. Where it is located? It is located at the index position, first position. So this is placed in the first index position. That's what it is going to return. So index function returns the index function returns the index value of the given object, of the given element. So if you consider this 20, this is not the index, this is the element. So it looks for this element in the given object, tuple object. If it is present, it is going to return the index value of that. Otherwise, it gives the error, value error, saying that the value is not present in the tuple. Right? Hope you understand, guys. And count function, we already know that it is going to look for the number of occurrences of a given element in the given tuple object. Okay, so t dot count, if you see what it does, it is going to, okay, it is going to return the number of occurrences. So we got error, we got an error. What is that error? Okay, type error. Count takes exactly one argument, but I did not give anything. Okay, so I had to give that, right? I was looking for 10. How many times my 10 present in the given tuple? How many times my 10 value present in the given tuple? That's what I'm going to check. How many times it is present? 3 times. So my 10 value is first time, second time, third time. So 3 times, total 3 times it is there in the given tuple. That's what count function is going to do. Getting it? I hope that you are following. Guys, I'm spending a lot of time. I can simply close this. But I'm even though I have very minimum number of students here, but I'm spending time. I'm not just simply ignoring or not just simply skipping it. Please follow and raise your hand if you have any doubts. The same thing happens in case of manipulation also. Like if you have two tuples, you can perform arithmetic operations like plus and multiplication. Plus is going to combine, right? Plus is going to combine, multiplication is going to repeat. So you can follow the same thing for tuple also. Okay, so nothing great about other than this. So you can apply the sorting also. You can apply sorting. Can we apply sort, please? Do we have that function? No, right? So directly you cannot sort it. You have to convert this into list, then sort it, and again convert that into tuple. So if you want to sort the tuple, how do you do it? First, you convert that into list, the tuple object. On top of that, you can call sort function. Okay. Now the complete result again you can convert back into tuple. Just a conversion, all about conversion, because directly you cannot modify a tuple. Okay, directly you cannot modify a tuple. If it is a list, directly you can apply sort. Okay, if you require, if you want to do something, some operations on tuple, right? So you have to play around this. Okay, we got an error. What is that? Something is not iterable. What is that not iterable? Is, so after start, what it is going to return See that? So here I'm just converting this into list, right? So this is not returning anything. So list of t equal to L, okay, L dot sort, L dot sort. So it is sorted. After that, again you convert this into tuple, okay. So now it is your tuple out. Now you print this sort function, all other operations, whatever you wanted to operate, you can operate. Okay, just conversions matters because we cannot modify the existing tuple directly. So you have to convert that into list. You do whatever you want to do, again convert them back into tuple object if you want. Okay, so there are places where I do not want to disturb my values which are coming from the database. I wanted to show them as it is to the output. In that case, I will go with the tuple. I do not want to modify in between. Okay, unmodifiable collection is what tuple. Very important. List and tuples we use very frequently in applications development. Okay, in writing your programs, solving the problems. So what is the difference between list and tuple, guys? The only one difference is list is a mutable object, whereas tuple is not a mutable. So meaning that immutable. And apart from that, everything is same. Everything is same with the list and the tuple. Are you clear with this? Are you clear with this? Or any questions? Any questions? So clear. No questions. Good. Then we'll move on to. Then I will move on to the next thing is set. Okay. Set and dictionary are like more likely collections. Okay. Set and dictionary, and you can compare like these data structures. List is a mutable one, index based. Tuple is immutable one, index based. And you look at the set, right? Okay, set is, set is not uh, index based, guys, meaning that so the index value 0 1 2 3 4. How do we access the set, how do we access the list and the tuple elements? We can access them using the index value, right? S of 1, S of 2, like that, L1 of 2 3 4. Okay, so we have seen that. Now when you look at the set, it is not index based. Instead it is hash based. Okay, so what is hashing and all? So hash is a concept, a separate concept, guys. Okay, this this hash mechanism empower or improves the performance of such operation. Hash mechanism, okay, hash mechanism is to improve the search activity, improve the search activity. If you want to search something out of 1 lakh elements, out of 10 lakh elements, so it takes more time, right? In that case, so if your structure is, your collection is a hash based collection, okay, so the organizing of the elements are like little different. So that is where it is going to be different with respect to the other collections list and tuple. Okay, so how to create a set object? So set is also a class, guys. Is a class. Okay, so it represents group of elements, and like a distant tuple, group of elements. Okay, represents group of elements organized 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 based on the based on the hashing technique. This is the important point you have to know. Okay, hash mechanism is important around the set. In case of list and tuple, index based, they follow the index as like a string, but set follows hashing algorithm. What is the hashing algorithm and all, you can Google it, but I'll give you some basic idea about that. Okay, so now set is how to represent a set, guys. Set representation represented using these brackets. Okay, using these brackets. So square bracket is list, parenthesis tuple, and this bracket is for what? Set. But if you want to create empty set, okay, to create empty set, so if you use this okay, if you use this flower brackets as empty brackets, empty parentheses like list and tuple, it doesn't work. If you keep empty flower brackets to create a set, no, it's wrong. Okay, by default set and the dictionary uses the same brackets, the same curly brackets. Now what is the difference is, set is like a group of single elements, whereas your dictionary is group of key value pairs, group of key value pairs. So but when you try to create empty set, okay, I don't have any elements, then I wanted to create it empty set, then this is not a set, yes, this is going to be a dictionary, that's what you have to notice here. So this is a by default considered as dictionary, not the set. Okay, to create empty set we need to use a function, a function, set function. Okay, so this creates set actually, set function creates set. Okay, so type of s, if you see, this is set, guys, this is set. Okay, this is going to be set. See that the first difference, maybe in the interview room you can like, if you get a question something like, if you define like this, what it is by default, so most of the people says that what, okay, it is a set, but not, it is a dictionary. By default it is going to be a dictionary but not set. So if you want to create empty set, use this set constructor, set object. This is going to create, okay, this is going to create set object actually. So actually we are calling it as a function, but actually it is a constructor. Okay, we call it as what? Constructor, that you will learn in advanced, okay, when you are looking into OOPS concepts, object oriented programming concepts. Okay, so let me add some elements then. This is equal, using flower brackets, if I keep elements like this, is it going to be dictionary or set? Tell me guys, what is the type of this? What is the type of this, dictionary or set? Come on, you have to speak out. What is the type of this? What is the type of this, dictionary or set? So it is a set. Why? Because you have elements now. In the earlier case, you don't have any elements. So by default, as there is no data, so Python interpreter by default it treats that as a dictionary. But when you have data, so based on the data, it will decide whether it is a set or dictionary. Okay, as you have all the single elements, individual elements, this is going to be a set, but not the dictionary, So it will be a set. Right, yes. So now we created a set object. Now let's play with that by accessing it. So can I access using index? Can I do this? Can I do this? S of 3. I'm trying to access it. So you can see that type error, set object is not subscriptable. So you cannot access using index based, you cannot access. Okay. So this is what set object is, no, you cannot do that. This is not possible. Okay, let me keep it here. Type error, set object is not subscriptable. Okay, this set is not index based, you cannot access it. Okay, all right guys. Okay, can I have duplicate elements in my set? Let's understand other points of my list and tuple. Whatever I have in case of list, whatever the other points I have, we can store all the elements of same type and all. Let me copy all this. Okay, we can store all the elements of same type. Also we can store elements of different types. So is that point is valid in case of set, meaning that can I have different types of elements? Okay, let me have integer, let me have string, let me have a boolean, let me have a floating point value. but different types. Okay, in the similar way, let me also have duplicate elements. 10 and 10 I have given. Okay, now print the s. Okay, so different objects I have added, and at the same time I have added duplicate elements also. And when I print the output, what it is given, true and 10.5 hello. Okay, so it is given all the elements I added. So what are the elements I have added? These are the elements I have added. Is it same as my output? Is it same as my output? See that. Is it same as my output? No, right? I have added 10 twice. I have added 10 twice. 2 times I have added. But in the output I see only one. Meaning that it is not going to allow the duplicates. Okay, if you try to add the duplicate, it simply ignores that. It simply ignores that. It is not going to consider that. Okay. So what is the point here? We can store all the elements of same type. Also, we can store different types. Okay, and we can add the duplicate elements in the list. No, this is not possible. Cannot add the duplicate values in the set. If we try to add, it simply ignore. Try to add, okay, it ignores it. That is the difference. So based on the requirement. So if you wanted to uh, uh, keep the duplicate elements of your results, then go with the list object. And you wanted to modify it, so go for the list object. You wanted to keep the duplicate values, but you do not want to modify the results, then go for the tuple because it's immutable. Okay, you have your results and you do not want to have the duplicates. You want to filter out the duplicate values, then take the set object. Okay, so it depends on the requirement. You have to be smart enough to choose what you are really looking for. You have to pick that relevant one, right? So now when it comes to set is an ordered collection. A set is default by set is not sorted by default. See that ordered means what? Whatever the order you have entered, if you see the same order when you try to access it, then you can say that is what uh, ordered. But is that how we see the output here? So first we got a true. Hello is last. Is that the same way I have inserted? No, right? First I have 10. So meaning that whatever the order I have inserted, I don't see the same order. I don't see the same order. I don't see the same order. Right, guys? Okay. So I can say set is not an ordered collection. Okay. Set is not an ordered collection. And of course, it is not sorted also. It will be not sorted also. Set can be modifiable once the set is created. Is that possible, guys? Okay, so let us see that. Let us see that. Okay, so I have a set here. Now, can I add elements to the set? See that? Yes, I have a add function. I can add happily. I can add the elements to the set. Okay, you can do that. So here 100 is added or not added? Where it is added at the end? No. In case of list, we have append function. By default, it add the element at last. Okay, but in case of set, so it is not guaranteed that where it is going to add. Wherever, that's all depends on the hash technique it follows. Okay. Guys, do you guys have internet issues or what? Why you are dropping in between? Okay. Okay, guys. So this is how you can check with your set thing. It is a mutable object. Of course, set is not index based. It is hash based. Hash based. Right, yes. So I'll share one video about the hashing technique and all. Don't worry. Okay, just follow that. What is hashing and how hashing will work? I will share the video. separate video for that. All right, so you can play with the functions. What are the different functions we have with respect to Manikanda? That's what it requires another 1 hour. But anyhow, let me give you a brief idea about that. Okay, so hashing, right? It is going to organize the elements as a buckets, hash buckets, and it's going to group all of them in vertical directions, meaning that as a separate buckets. Say for example, I have elements. Okay, let me take 5 minutes here. I have elements of 11, okay, 2, 3, 4, well, some random numbers I'm taking. Okay, okay, something like this. So these are my elements, set of elements. How it is going to organize is, okay, for example, set. For example, so I'm taking a basic hashing technique algorithm. There are a number of algorithms here. Okay, so I'm going based on a reminder value. Okay, meaning that I'll take the number, I will apply a 10. What is this modulo operator, right? So it gives me reminder. What is the reminder here? 1. Then I will apply the same thing on the given element. 2 more 10, the remainder will be 2. I'll apply say same thing for mod 10, and this gives me what? Remainder 4. Then 12 mod 10, this gives me remainder 2. Okay, 15 mod 10, this gives me remainder what? 5. Okay, 17 mod 10, this gives me remainder what? 7. Then I have 15 again. 15 again, so 15 mod duplicate elements, it's going to ignore, right? Okay, 17, then 5. So 5 mod 10, the remainder is what? 5. 3 mod 10, the remainder is what? 3. Okay, so I'm going to use this formula. I'm going to use this formula to get the remainder values. Now, so I will create the buckets basically. I will create the buckets. Okay, in case of list index based, right? So when it is index based, it organizes all the elements in a sequence, right? In a sequence, correct? In a sequence, one by one. So but here it is going to organize the elements, okay, in the buckets. So this is first bucket, this is the second bucket, okay, this is the third bucket, this is the fourth bucket, fifth bucket, sixth bucket, seventh bucket, etc. 10 buckets total. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so total 6 buckets. Okay, total 6 buckets, total 10 buckets. It has to be total 10 buckets. Okay, ninth bucket. It is going to organize the data in this way. Okay, in this way. All right, guys. I want to get the remainder 0 also, right? So that is why I'm maintaining the 0 at the bucket also. Now what happens here while adding the elements, how it is going to add is depends on the remainders. So first element 11, right? What is the remainder I got? 1. So the 11 element is going to keep in the first index bucket. Okay, so I'll get my element here. I'll get my element 11 here in this bucket. The second element is 2. So I'm going, what is the remainder value? 2. So this element is going to store in the second index bucket. Okay, then I have remainder 4, so it is going to store in this bucket. in this bucket. Then 12 is remainder 2, so it is getting into this bucket. Then 15, so it is going to get into fifth bucket. Then I have 17, it is going to get into this bucket. Then 5, again I'm going to get into this bucket. I've already taken it. Oh, that is 15, right? Okay, earlier was 15, so 15 and 5 both comes into the same bucket. Then 3, so it will get into this bucket. Okay, so this is how it organizes, guys. So while accessing the elements, it goes based on it is going to get the elements from bucket by bucket. First it might get 11, then 12 comma 2, then 3 4 15 comma 5 comma 17, like that. So in that case, it doesn't ensure the order, it doesn't ensure the sorting, it doesn't do anything. Okay, this is how it organizes. But if you look at the index based things, how it is going to organize, it is going to organize in a single sequence, right? Whatever the elements you have, all of them are going to arrange in order, right? So whatever elements you have, it's going to arrange in a single bucket, right? Completely it is going to arrange in a sequence, 11 to 4, like this you are going to get 12 15 5 17, like this you are going to get all the elements in a sequence. Okay, but here it's not arranged in the sequence. So here I'm saying the hash value, right? So here it is going to calculate the element hash value and apply some hashing technique to get the buckets, to get the bucket number where it has to store. That is the main thing here internally happens. So what is the advantage of this? So tomorrow I wanted to search for an element of 12. Okay, I wanted to search for the element of 12. Okay, then in case of sequence or index based, how it is going to search? First it will compare with 11. Okay, it will compare with 11 with the element 12. It is not equal, then it goes to the next element and it compares it. No, then it takes the next element and compares, then it goes to the next element, it compares. Here it is mass, so it will find it out, and at 4 times it is going to compare. 4 comparisons operations going to happen or not. Assume that I'm looking for third element, then how many comparisons it is going to do? So it has to compare, it has to iterate through each and every element or not? It has to iterate through each and every element. In case of sequence, in case of index based, the same thing if you apply for what hashing, what it happens, first what is the search element? 3. First it calculates the hash value of 3, so meaning that it calculates the bucket, number 3 mod 10 is equal to what? 3. So directly it goes to third bucket, by bucket number is third, so directly it comes here, and whatever the elements here in this third bucket, it is going to search against that, and it doesn't need to search about the remaining elements. Guys, are you understanding what will happen now? So it has to compare against only one element here, that is what? 3 equal to 3. Yes, it is there, it is going to do return true. So this calculating the bucket number is a constant time. So calculating, when it comes to performance, we will speak about this terminologies. Okay, calculating the bucket number is a constant time. So order of 1. Constant time, so it doesn't matter, so it doesn't. So then comparisons, so then comparison operator, definitely when compared to your whole list of elements, the comparison operators is going to reduce, because we are going to search against only one particular bucket. So you don't see, when you have only 10 elements or 20 elements, you don't see the difference. But imagine the real-time data sets where we have millions of records, millions of numbers. In that case, the performance is the biggest problem. Understand? So that is where, if your frequent operation is search operation, then going with the set is the perfect thing. Okay, going with the set is the perfect thing. Okay. Okay, so if the frequent operation is such, then highly recommendable use set. Okay, understand guys? Is that clear now? Understandable, Mankanta? Okay, yes. Okay, perfect. Yeah, now you can play all your set operations. Yes, in set, right? So we have a number of functions. So do you remember mathematics? So we have mathematical operations, right? Union, intersection, symmetric difference. Do you remember the mathematics? Sets and the relations, mathematics. In your school days or college days, you must be come across these terms. So you can apply all these things on set. So you can see the functions, difference, intersection, union, symmetric difference, all these things. So discard is going to remove the element, given element from the set. Okay. Okay, so then you can see copy. We have already seen in case of list. Okay, it's going to create a copy of it. Remove function, pop function. We already know the difference between pop and remove function already. We learned in case of list. So clear function clears everything. Add function is going to add it. Okay, we have something called update function. Add, what is the difference between add and update? That I will tell you. Okay, so remaining things are like you can play yourself. Okay, so if you see add, you can, if you want to add a single element to the set, yes, you can use this add function. But update function, if you wanted to add multiple elements, 100 comma 200, something like this, if you wanted to update a sequence, a list, okay, this list of elements I wanted to add to my set, okay, then you can go with the update function. Okay, then you can go with the update function. See that all of where all 100 and 200 is added or not. That's what. So update function is to update multiple another list of values to your set, right? Then you can use this one. Okay. Other than that, so everything else is same. The same mathematical operations also you can play with that. Okay. You can apply all the operations whatever we have seen in case of list. You can play with that. All. Okay, guys. Any confusions around that? Just you play with all functions. Okay, the next thing is dictionary, and final thing is dictionary. Right? So it is completely different with respect to other data structures, list, tuple, set. Okay, dictionary is going to store as a key value page. So I wanted to store student name and marks. Student what course he joined. Okay, cricketer name and how much score he did. Okay, a person and his mobile number. So basically, if you wanted to track, okay, track the value, what is the value, and what is the value of what? Okay, so there we are going to track that as a map. Okay, so here in Python we call it as a dictionary, where you can see as a key value base, a key value base. Madhu, thanks for reminding. Yeah, we have something called frozen set, right? Okay. Thanks for reminding me. Okay, I just forgot that. Okay, so we have a mutable and immutable concepts, right? Mutable and immutable concepts. All right. So if you compare a list is immutable. If you see tuple is mutable, correct? I'm sorry, I did reverse. Mutable and immutable, correct? Right. Now in the similar way, I have a set. By default, set is what? Mutable. Mutable. Then what is the immutable version of this? That is what frozen set. Okay. Trojan set is immutable. Everything else is same as set. So tuple is immutable. Everything else is same as list. Right? In a similar way, Trojan set is also just immutable. Once you created a Trojan set, you are not allowed to modify it. Okay, say we have to create Trojan set using this constructor Trojan set. You pass your set elements. Now on top of this, you cannot add anything, you cannot update anything, you don't have any functions to support this. See that I don't have anything. Okay, if you try to do union, it is going to create a new object. It's not going to modify the existing object. So it's completely new thing. Okay, so that is what Trojan set, nothing great. Okay, everything else the same as you were said. Only difference is Trojan set you are not allowed to modify it. See that the Trojan set it is kind of tuple, right? If you see, it is added this bracket. Whatever the object you have, it is added inside what your bracket. It's a kind of tuple. You cannot modify it. Once you create it, you cannot modify it. That is only the difference between set and Trojan set. Clear, Madhu? Okay. All right. So yeah, dictionary is a kind of what key value base. Okay, you can create a dictionary using key value base. So I'm going to take the names. Okay, Madhu is the name and Madhu and what course he has joined Python. Okay, so I have name Venkat. So he joined say Java. So basically, so tomorrow, so I wanted to know, okay, what Venkat, what course Venkat is student, what course Venkat is joined. I wanted to know that. Then I'm going to look, I'm going to perform a lookup operation against my dictionary. I'll be looking for the key Venkat and what is the value associated to the Venkat, this Java. So I will say, okay, Venkat is joined Java course. Understand, guys? So we are going, while storing the data, we are going to store in a particular manner. That is what the key value base. So it will be easy when you are trying to access that. So how to access the dictionary keys? How to access the dictionary elements? Dictionary elements. Okay, access the dictionary elements. So Manikanda, I'm just started with the dictionary. Frozen set is a immutable version of set. Other than that, everything same as set. Frozen set and set both are exactly same. Only difference is what? Frozen set is immutable. You are making immutable set object. Set is immutable by default, right? And started with the dictionary. Dictionary is a key value base. So I have a names and the courses they joined. Madhu joined Python. Venkat joined Java. Maybe so Manikanta joined Python. Like this, you can see you can maintain a key value base. You can maintain key value base. So here you can access the elements using keys. So D of key. So you have to use this one. The syntax to access this is okay. Dictionary name with the key. This gives the value associated to the key. Associated to the key. Understand? This is going to give the value associated to key. Now, what is my dictionary name? D. And what is the key here? Madhu. Now what the value it is going to give is the associated value, which is what Python. So just print it. Just print this. Okay. So it is going to give me what Python. So because so Madhu key is associated to a value Python. Do you understand how to access it using keys? In case of set list, in case of list and tuple, we can access them using what index value. Right? You can access them using index value. In case of dictionary, you can access them using keys. Okay, using keys. The next thing, if you look at I wanted to add the elements. I wanted to add the elements to the dictionary. Okay. So do we have any new functions to do that? See that. So you have clear, pop, copy, keys, values, update, all the stuff, right? Okay. So anyhow, by default, I just wanted to have a key here. Okay. Say, okay. So Likit, this is what new key I wanted to add to my dictionary, and what is the value. So maybe he joined UI technologies. Now print the dictionary. So dictionary is going to have the new key value page, which is what Likit and UI along with this key value page. Okay, so you can add as individual keys like this. You can add individual keys like this, right? So then next, so just you can play with the dictionary functions, guys. You can play with the dictionary functions. So clear is going to clear everything. We know that. Pop function is going to return the last element. It's going to remove the element whatever you have given based on the key. So you just give the key here. So I'm giving Venkat. Now print the D. Okay, pop function. We know in case of list and set. Now Venkat is removed or not. From Venkat entry is removed from the dictionary. So you have to give the key here. You have to give the key here. In case of list, we give the index, right? It's going to remove the element at the given index. But here you have to give the key, because key is the main thing here in case of dictionary. Okay, in case of list and tuple, indexes are keys, main things, but here key is the main thing. Okay, and the other important thing is we can get the keys, list of keys. So this is going to return me as a list of keys. So meaning that I'm going to get only Madhu, I'm going to get Venkatman, only keys I'm going to get. So if you print this, you can see. So the main goal is here, right? So how to play with the collections. The whole concept of collections is to organize the data, and uh, how to organize them, how to manage them. Depends on the requirement. We are going to play with the data sets. So here you can see it is going to return that as a list. It is going to return as a list object. So only keys, with the only keys. In the similar way, I can get only values, list of values. I can get the list of values. Run. So you can see that values Python UI. So here you can see the keys. You can get the keys, you can get the values, or you can iterate through that. Okay, for every element in the dictionary. Okay, let me print the element. How it is going to give? Just using a for loop, I'm iterating through the dictionary. So what it is returning? That when I say element, it is just pointing to the keys or not. It is pointing to the keys. So directly you can iterate through that. So this is going to return every time as a key. For it's a kind of for loop, right? For every key in the dictionary, it is going to do that. So I wanted to access the dictionary of keys. This is going to give me what keys and values. Okay, so let me print the key value pairs. Okay, key comma value, key comma d of key. So see that Madhu and Python, money Python, Likit UI. That's how you can access the dictionary keys and values, or based on the keys you can access the values, and all you can perform. Okay, all the functions. So from keys of sequence, so you can prepare a dictionary if you have a group of sequence. Okay, items is going to return each key value pair as a tuple, separate tuple. Okay, so there are few other functions, guys. So to the straightforward, you can apply them. You can play with them. Okay, so I have an example here. Okay, I have an example here, um, which is on dictionaries. Okay, Okay, so here I have an example, guys. Okay, what is this example? I have a Corona Jones example here. So I have a Jones dictionary, red zone, green zone, orange zone. Okay, red zone, orange zone, green zone. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to separate it. So I'm entering the area name, okay, and the zone name, zone it belongs to. Okay, I entered Guntur, it belongs to red zone. Then I'm going to put in this particular red zone list. So so here this is a list of things. So far in the previous example we have a single string as a value, right? Meaning that here we have a name something like Venkat, and here a value something like a string Java or Python. But here the values are strings, meaning that I have total three keys here: red zone, green zone, orange zone. And values I might be having more values for red zone, more values for green zone, more values for orange zone. So here you can see, so user is going to enter the data from the keyboard, and if he belongs to red zone, meaning that if the area belongs to red zone, then I'm going to add that to the red zone list, and I'm adding that list back to the dictionary of this particular red key. The similar way, green zone and orange zone. So if I have user doesn't have any more data, then it is going to break. And finally, at the end of that, I'm printing this data. Okay, just run this. Enter the area name. So I'm entering Guntur. This belongs to red zone. Okay. Do you want to enter one more record? Yes, I wanted to enter one more record. What is the area name? Say Hyderabad. Hyderabad is also belongs to what? Red zone. Okay, so enter one more record. Yes. So okay. So my village name I'm writing. So it belongs to green zone. Fortunately, we don't have any cases here. Okay. So then I want to enter one more record. Yes, I wanted to add one more record. An area name is say okay, Bangalore. It belongs to, yes, of course, red zone. Okay, so one more record. Yes. Okay, so area name, okay, maybe okay, any name. So random name. Okay, I'm giving some random name. This belongs to orange zone. Okay, now I wanted to quit. Now you can see the data. So red zone elements are at one place or not. Guntur, Hyderabad, Bangalore, all are belongs to what, red zone, and green zone there is one area that belongs to green zone. So orange zone there is one area belongs to orange zone. So this is how the data is going to segregate. If there is a collection of like from the Excel or somewhere we are getting the data, the whole worldwide data. From the worldwide data, we are going to organize. We are going to separate all the areas belongs to red zone, areas belongs to green zone, areas belongs to orange zone. I'm going to separate. That's where like you can use some real time usage of dictionary usage. That's important. So here we have used flow controls. We have used loops, right? Flow controls, if else loops. We have used collections, dictionary. We have used list and dictionary, all combinations. So depends on the requirement, you have to use, okay, all of them together to fulfill your requirement, to solve your problem. Okay, so yeah, you can refer more actually. Okay, more examples you can refer, guys. I will give you one website. Okay, so you can practice from there. There is something called w3resource.com, Python exercises. How many of you guys know about this? Okay, so you just follow this to practice more. W3 skill is like, yeah, you can follow that. That's a basic thing. So here you can follow like n number of problems. Okay. Okay, Mankanda. So Python, right? So this is the best website. W3 resource, not W3 school. Okay, so you can practice all the things. So dictionary example, list example, sets example. Suppose I want to do list examples. So here write a Python program to sum all the items in the list. Write a Python program to multiples all the items in a list. to find the largest number from the list, smallest number from the list. Okay, so n number of programs you can see program to count the number of strings. Okay, uh, where the string length is 2 or more. So just calculating that. Okay, if the string, like it's going to find number of characters on each string, and if it is more than 2, then it's going to return that. Okay, so you just understand the problem. Okay, and you can practice by going to the editor. If you don't understand, just click here to see the output. Okay, they have given the answer. This is what matching words they exercise. Matching words, if you don't understand, come little down. There you can see there you can see the flow chart. Understanding the flow chart, come down. So here they'll explain how the program execution happens. If you still not understand, you come here and you see the visualizing the execution. So click on this. So step by step how it is going, just click on this next, it will understand you how internally it is happening. Okay, so finally it is program is out, and output you can see here. Okay, matching words. In this way you can practice more programs. Yes, more programs. Okay, okay, and we don't have as the plan is only 3 weeks plan, so I have covered all the concepts, but programming exercise will be covered as part of the advanced. Yes, okay, as part of the advanced. So we are going to make you practice more things. Okay, that's all guys, hope you enjoyed all the sessions.